Oh man, we are live. Welcome everybody to another episode of Starlight Beacon where we talk about Star Wars. It's just me tonight. We're recapping The Mandalorian with you guys. Well, I am recapping The Mandalorian with you guys tonight. What a great episode we had. Seth, what's going on, partner? Good to see you. Good to see you, man. Let us know in the chat. What's up? What's up? Imani, what's going on? Oh shoot. Wait a second. Let me get my little chat thing up here. There we go. There we go, man. How's everybody's week, man? How y'all doing? Hope y'all had a great, tremendous, wonderful week. What a great way to cap the week off if you are a Star Wars fan. Man, this was a great episode. This was a great episode. Grogu. Yeah. So, bro, let me tell y'all about this episode, all right? I'm not gonna lie, I'm still riding high off of last week's episode. And coming into this one, I was like, you know what? I'll be all right if this was like a filler episode. Cause I'm like, we got 3 episodes left in the season. I'm like, all right, how are we going to cap this thing off? We're going to have another 2-part season finale like we did last week. We're going to have another filler episode for this episode. And then, the next 2 weeks, we're going to get the big bang, the season finale and all that stuff. That's how I was thinking. That's how, assume that they may approach this episode. And so, my clock went off, 2:45 a.m. this morning. I was like a little groggy. I was like, I'm not really hyped for this episode because I don't know what to expect. I'm like, from Legends, Tython is in the deep core of the galaxy. So that's like the innermost portion of the galaxy, right? This show takes place on the outer rim. So I'm like, it could actually take him a minute to get to Tython. And I was like, you could also get some like, a filler type of thing. Moff Gideon might pop up and stop them before they get to Tython, and then like maybe they never reach Tython. It's just a number of things that could happen, you know what I'm saying? So I get up, I go to the Den of Nerds, shout out to the Den of Nerds, go to their live stream, check them out. Got Star Wars Theory also open. I got that open on my phone. And then I got the Den of Nerds on my laptop. 3 o'clock rolls around, open up the Disney Plus app, go to, the Mandalorian. I click on the episode, and then I see Navarro on the little thumbnail. And I was like, yep, we getting the filler episode. So I laid down on my couch. Now I'm like, all right, I'm just enjoy the ride because like we're going back to Navarro, so this is obviously gonna be another filler episode. Episode starts off, we're out in space. Mando, Grogu playing, they're having like a cute little father-son moment, which I thought was adorable. Love that, by the way. Not complaining at all. Love this episode. And we keep getting this like wide angle, right, of the Mandalorian in the ship, and you can see like what is it to the left of him, right? So where are we? Right here, basically. You can see like outside of the spaceship. You can see the star field, and I'm like, yo, you know what's about to happen? Moff Gideon is about to drop out of hyperspace, ruin this whole father-son moment. He's never gonna make it to Tython. That's what I was thinking. That was my, theory at the time. And so, I'm still laying on the couch just watching this unfold. And next thing you know, they pan into the planet and it's green. And I'm like, yo, that's not Navarro. I'm like, yo, we really at Tython right now? Ship gets into the atmosphere. We, he makes his approach. We see the Seeing Stone, the little what's the Stonehenge-esque Jedi monument thing or what have you up there on the mountain. And I'm like, oh wow, we're really on Tython right now. So I'm like getting a little excited again. Still laying down on my couch, you know what I'm saying? We land, we get to the, they jetpack over to the Seeing Stone or what have you. Mando sits Grogu on the Seeing Stone. He does his little thing, what have you. And then suddenly, I've got my surround sound on, my speakers on, by the way. And, I can hear a ship enter the atmosphere, sound panning. If you haven't listened to this on like surround sound, like the way they sound engineered this show is phenomenal. So anyway, ship comes in, we follow their eyes with the camera. Then next thing you know, we see Slave One flying in. I sit up immediately and I'm like, yo, we about to get an episode, baby. I know exactly who's in that ship. Boba has arrived. My man Boba Fett. As a matter of fact, wait a second. Who we got? It's Boba. You know what I'm saying? My man is here. I was like, yo, we about to get straight heat these next 3 episodes, because if Boba's already here already, then my God, these next 3 episodes are going to be amazing. So it's kind of cold. Anyway, see who else is in the chat. What's up, Ma? Yeah, the armor fits. That was a good fit, man. This is a great episode. This is a great episode. As soon as I saw Slave One, I'm like, 10s all around. They sold me. I'm good. 100% on board with this joint. Saw Boba do something other than load cargo and follow. Ha, yeah, right. I was just saying, I just dropped in the comment section. Oh, not the comments, but in the Den of Nerds Discord. I was like, yo, I'm gonna be completely honest with you. My appreciation for Boba Fett comes entirely from video games. Me playing that character in like Battlefront, that's basically where a lot of my appreciation comes. And then like in the Old Republic era, the Clan Fett is like a huge part of the Mandalorian Wars. Like Cassus Fett is like Mandalore the Ultimate second in command. So like that's where a lot of my appreciation and respect comes from. Clan Fett, Boba Fett, Jango Fett, and all of them. Second Street, Trinity, what's going on, man? Good to see you. Appreciate you for stopping by. Heem, what's good? This man gave, hey, listen, Heem gave this a 10 out of 10. Matter of fact, I want to know, what do you rank this episode? Give me in the chat, out of 10. What do you rank this episode? I'm still stuck on, put my ranking here. I gave it a 9.99 out of 10, only because of the length. And that's just a personal preference. I wish this episode was longer. That's all. That's literally my only complaint about the episode. It was just too short. I wanted more. I was like, give me more Boba. Give me more Boba. We also get that title card, The Tragedy. I was like, okay, what are we about to watch here? I couldn't call it at that moment, because I was like, yo, Tragedy. I'm like, oh man. Well, also too, I knew that the Mando was being tracked by Moff Gideon, because that was, something that was revealed in what episode was that? A couple episodes ago. That they had put the tracking device on the Razor Crest. And so I was like, yo, Moff Gideon is going to appear any moment. So I was like, I knew in that episode, based off the title card, that we were going to get the Empire. Like Moff Gideon was going to show up at some point. Definitely saw that coming. But nah, man. So yeah. So where are we? So Baby Yoda, Grogu, sitting on the Seeing Stone, and he begins to meditate, and we get this interesting like energy force field type of thing that is protecting him, keeping him encased in the stone. I've never seen anything like this before. Like that was some like video game type stuff. Me and Heem were actually talking about this off camera. Like this was like, it was some straight up video game magic. Like that's kind of sort of what you see in like video games when you're like meditating as a Jedi. Like this magical mystical force field just appears around you and whatnot. Real mythical, if you will. Cool to see. Then Mando, I think Mando tries to get him off the stone, what have you, whatever. Anyways, get to the point. Let's get to the Boba stuff. So Mando looks over the ledge and sees Boba's exiting the ship, and he's still in his like Tusken Raider incognito gear, getting off the ship. Tells Baby Yoda, all right, hey, I'm going to buy you some time. He goes down there. As soon as he gets close enough, like laser blast at his feet, ducks behind a rock. Here comes Boba. And man, Tamara Morrison's voice. Good God. I love that voice, man. His voice, his accent, like that, he is Boba Fett to me. Like, I don't even remember what the original Boba Fett actor sounds like from the originals. Like he's been Boba Fett and Jango Fett for me for forever. And yes, I did watch the pre-special edition original trilogy. So I know that there was an actor that voiced Boba Fett prior to Tamara Morrison, because George Lucas redubbed Tamara Morrison's voice over Boba Fett after the prequels came out, because we learned that Boba Fett is a clone of Jango Fett, so he, for continuity, redubs the voice so that Tamara Morrison is also voicing Boba Fett in the original trilogy. Little known fact, tidbits, which is actually another important thing that we'll get to later in the episode, because I'm going to harp on this thing. What the Mandalorian has been doing so well is reinforcing continuity. It's just creating continuity within the Star Wars universe, and that's something that is different from fan service. Like, there's fan service and then there's continuity. Fan service is like, hey, look, you remember you liked this thing? It was great, wasn't it? That's fan service. Continuity is like, we know how all of these threads connect, and we're not going to forget how these things are related and they're important and integral to the story. That's what I have come to appreciate about this show through the 2 seasons thus far. See 9 people in chat, man. Hey, appreciate y'all for joining. Make sure you leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, because if you don't know, we are your weekend warriors here over at Gumbo. We've got streams on Friday, which is the Mando stream, which is what we're doing right now. Saturdays, we got the cookout with the whole crew. So that's usually at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We just kind of talk about like a whole bunch of nerdy stuff, entertainment. Just come kick it with the Gumbo fam. Talk to us in the chat. We got a curated list of topics to go over. That's every Saturday, 8 p.m. Eastern. And on Sundays, we also got Star Wars Sundays, where I'm back talking Star Wars in general with you guys in the chat. So without further ado, let's continue with this episode breakdown. So Fennec Shand, we get that reveal that she's alive. We also get the reveal that Boba Fett, basically repaired her in some way, like basically turned her into a cyborg. Like her whole intestines are like metal parts. That was weird. That was wicked, which I didn't even know Boba had those skills. That was a cool thing. But Boba is there. I'm thinking, all right, are we gonna have a straight up fight between Din and Boba? Because for me, I'm like, there's no way Din is winning and beating Boba Fett. Like, it's just, I can't see that ever happening. Like, Boba Fett's Boba Fett. Forget what happened with the Sarlacc thing. That was a fluke accident. You know what I'm saying? This is Boba Fett we're talking about. So Fennec Shand is up on the ledge. She's got her sights trained on the child. I keep calling him the child. He has a name now. Grogu. He's got her sights trained on Grogu. And then we've got who else? So yeah, Boba is negotiating with the Mandalorian. He asked the Mandalorian, I'm here for the armor. Mando's like, you got to take it off my dead body. He's like, bro, I'm not talking about your armor. I'm talking about my armor that you got off Cobb Vanth. It's like, you're not Mandalorian. He said, my fathers, your forefathers gave it to my father. That armor is mine. It's been in my family for years. Had to G-check him real quick, which I appreciated. And there was also another reveal later in the episode that kind of solidifies some things from the EU, from the Clone Wars, because Boba Fett and Jango Fett, for a minute there, had lost their Mandalorian status within the canon universe. So it was really cool to see that come back into play, but I'll get into that later. But he also drops this cool line where he's like, Mando, I believe, asked him who he is, and he says, I'm just a simple man trying to make my way in the universe, which is a direct quote from his father, Jango Fett, that he says in episode 2 of Attack of the Clones, which I'm like, see, that's continuity. You know what I'm saying? It's not fan service. Like, if you didn't understand the relationship between father and son, Jango Fett and Boba Fett in episode 2, man, you need to go back and watch that movie and experience that, so you can appreciate that moment. Because when in episode 2, Attack of the Clones, when Obi-Wan goes to Kamino to confront Jango Fett, he's inquiring, he's like, he's trying to figure out who he is. And that's when Jango Fett delivers that line, like, I'm just a simple man trying to make my way in the universe. Um, and so Boba he echoes that, and then also adds to it, like my father before me, echoing Anakin, not Anakin, but Luke Skywalker to the Emperor in Return of the Jedi, which is cool. That's just cool, man. I appreciate stuff like that. Anyway, on to the point, more to the point. They had kind of stand down. They agree, all right, you take off your jetpack, we'll lay down our arms and let's have a civil discussion about this, because like there's no need for bloodshed here. Like, I just want my armor, and if I get my armor, then I'm, no harm will come to you or the child. Like, this is all I'm here for. So as they're negotiating, we get the sound of another ship entering atmosphere, and this one is like a drop ship. I don't know if anybody else noticed this, but that drop ship was like almost the same model, I think, as the drop ships that the First Order used in The Force Awakens. It's definitely an earlier model, but it's definitely of the same design. It's got that, that front loading, kind of sort of like D-Day World War II boat, where the front opens up and then the troops come out the front instead of the sides, which I thought was cool. Once again, that's a continuity thing, because we know during this time period the Empire is transitioning from the Empire into the First and the Final Order, which is great. Regardless of how you feel about the sequel trilogies, is still important. Continuity, I'm still going to hark on. Like, there still needs to be continuity. There still needs to be connections to these movies and to everything else going on in the universe. So that was cool to see. And then we get into the action, man. And like, Boba Fett, that the stick that he's using, by the way, is called a gaffy stick, and it's what the Tusken Raiders use. We've seen that before. But my God, did he make quick work of those stormtroopers with that gaffy stick? Like, I don't think I have seen that level of brutality ever with any of those melee weapons. Like, that dude was tearing up stormtroopers left and right with that gaffy stick, man. Like, that was incredible. Like, the physicality that Tamara Morrison brought to the role was like incredible. Like, that sold me on it 110%. Like, I was like, yeah, this is the Boba Fett that we get in, like, the Legends and the extended universe and all the other stories about Boba Fett that we got after Return of the Jedi. Because even in Legends, he climbs out of the Sarlacc pit and does his thing in the universe, and becomes a prominent figure within the galaxy once again. But man, like, that dude he's a problem, man. It was so cool to see, like, just that, the fight sequencing in this episode and throughout the entire season, really. Like, a lot of the combat has been phenomenal, and the way that they're shooting it and the angles that they're using, and it's just amazing. Like, I've appreciated, it's been some of the best combat sequences that we've gotten in Star Wars, in my opinion. I don't know how you guys feel about it in the chat, but like, I've been thoroughly enjoying like all of the combat that we've gotten. Going back to not the Boba Fett, but the Bo-Katan episode, that was phenomenal. The way that they were moving, like, as a unit through that ship. Clearly they were communicating and they were coordinated, and they're used to fighting alongside each other. Boba Fett, on the other hand, is clearly used to, guerrilla tactics, fighting solo, doing what he's got to do to get the job done as a bounty hunter. Like, it's rare that I would imagine that it's very rare that a bounty hunter is ever going to have backup. So they've got to be, effective and efficient at combat and being ready to take on multiple enemies at the same time. And he displayed that he is quite proficient with not only melee weapons, but ranged weapons as well. The kid was, yeah, at the end, that was great. So yeah, that first drop ship comes in, and then the next drop ship comes in, and provides reinforcements. Fennec Sean too is not too shabby with a sniper rifle. Like she was like straight up Call of Duty quick scoping everybody, like all them stormtroopers out there. Like I don't know, shout out to everybody who plays Call of Duty. You know what I'm talking about? Those quick scopers. We hate those. You know what? We don't hate those because I'm one of those. I'm a quick scoper. I will quick scope in a heartbeat in Call of Duty. But man, she was putting in work with that sniper rifle. Mando, once again, that the Beskar and the fighting sequences, and when Mando and Fennec Shand team up and they have that like back to back moment that we've seen multiple times too in Star Wars, Obi-Wan and Mace Windu probably being the most notable one in the franchise, when in Attack of the Clones, when they go back to back and are in the Geonosian arena fighting off the droids. And we also got Boba Fett fighting his way to the Razor Crest. He finally gets to the ship, gets that armor on, and like it fit like a glove. Not really. It seemed a little tight, but it fit better than Cobb. I'll give him that. Definitely fit better. And he looked right in the armor. Cobb looked awkward in the armor. Boba looked like that. It was clearly Boba's armor. You know what I'm saying? Like he owned it. He knew exactly what to do with it. Cobb didn't know what he was doing with that armor. Like he knew how to use the rocket, and he knew how to use the jetpack, but he didn't know how to use the wrist rockets, the flamethrower. Like the dude had a knee cannon. He had a gun on his knee. Like what? Where did that come from? I've never seen that before. That's not even in video games. Like the dude's arsenal is insane. Insane. Yeah. And shout out to Robert Rodriguez for directing this episode. This was a phenomenal episode. This is his first and it's his Star Wars directorial debut, it was quite a debut because man, this episode was amazing. I hadn't seen anyone really complain about it, other than I was watching Trinity stream earlier this morning, and he didn't like the sound stage look at the end of the episode, which I thought that was hilarious. That was definitely a nitpick. I understand though, but it was definitely a nitpick. But nah, man. So we get all of that combat and the action and the Boba Fett, and like I think it made all the Boba Fett fans happy. Like I can't imagine being a Boba Fett fan watching this episode and not being happy at the end of it. Like maybe it's possible. I'm not saying it's impossible, but to me, I'm like, from what I saw, I was like, yo, this was amazing. This was incredible. Definitely some of the best stuff that we've seen in Star Wars, just hands down. Absolutely, from start to finish, this episode, the pacing was another thing that I really liked, even though I wish the episode was longer. The pacing, nothing ever dragged, nothing lasted longer than it needed to, and nothing was too short. Like everything fit the story and the narrative and the action that was happening on screen. Like all of it just worked. It was just such a well put together episode. I've seen it twice now, and I mean, even on second view, there were things that I'd noticed and picked up on, and it never really lagged for me as far as the pacing of it all. Like even on a rewatch, those moments where it's very magical. It's gonna have high replay value, bro. This season so far has been very impressive. It's definitely taken a leap forward from season one, which I felt like it would. I think they were safe in season one. Not that I didn't like season one. I thought season one was incredible, but they made a lot of safe decisions in season one. And in this season, they're taking a lot more risk as far as the characters that they're bringing into the story and the choices that they're making to ensure that we do have continuity, like the deep dives into the lore. Like going to Tython is a risk. Like as far as, from a business standpoint, from an executive standpoint, like if you are Disney Lucasfilm, and you're looking at this like you're introducing a planet that not everybody is familiar with. You're introducing characters and stories and arcs that people aren't familiar with. And anytime you do that, there's a risk to that, but if it's done well, like we've seen with this season, then it works. It just works. Like I don't know I don't know how else to put it. Like it's good. Like I'm happy that we are in a place right now, like as a fandom, that we are, I think, collectively enjoying the Star Wars content that we're getting. Because a couple of years ago, it wasn't like that. It wasn't like this at all. I mean, I'd say before last year, really, and even up until season 2 of this year, I would say that a lot of the discussions and conversations were still very divisive, and a lot of it had to do with the sequel trilogy. But we are not going to get into that because this is a Mando conversation. Yeah, so they fight off once the big three get together, Mando, Boba, and Fennec, like the stormtroopers, they stand no chance against these guys. Like they're quickly routed, returned back to their ships, and Boba gets that cool one shot, which I don't know about you guys, but when he fired that rocket, I knew it was going to hit both ships. Like I saw that coming, and I still appreciated it because it was still a cool moment. Like even though like I could see it from a mile away, it was just cool to see. Wait for that comment to pop up. But yeah, so the ships crash. We get a momentary victory. You know what I'm saying? And then next thing you know, we see this red light in the sky, and then boom, Razor Crest completely destroyed. Like I didn't see that coming. You know what I'm saying? Like I would have never, the Razor Crest being completely destroyed, I never would have called that one. Never would have called that one. I'm gonna be honest. Like, wow. Going back to my minor complaint about the predictability of the two ships, that 2-for-1 that Boba got on the ships, I definitely didn't see the Razor Crest getting destroyed. That was incredible. But that was, shout out to Moff Gideon, because that was definitely a boss move right there. As a casual fan, I'm feeling out of the loop, but I think it is because I'm close to people who are mega fans. Yeah, and that's definitely part of the risk, as I was saying earlier, from a business standpoint for Disney and Lucasfilm to, bring in all of these deep lore elements into the story, because it will leave a lot of casual fans kind of sort of out of the loop. But the good thing about the internet is when people like me who are mega fans get excited, like we're going to talk about this stuff. Like we're going to break it down. Like we're going to talk to our casual friends and anyone who else will listen about what happened in this episode, like what it all means, like why it's important. I couldn't do that for a while because although we were getting a lot of fan service in the sequels, and I'm not once again, I'm not trying to bash the sequels or anything, but like we got a lot of fan service in the sequels, but it lacked continuity. Like nothing was connecting to previous stories. Like they weren't tying anything really from the Clone Wars or from Rebels or from the extended universe, or from Legends. Like it was just things from the original trilogy. There were some characters that I think in The Rise of Skywalker that popped up from the prequels. I think someone popped up from the prequels in The Last Skywalker, or not Last Skywalker, The Last Jedi. But it was like real cameo stuff. Like it wasn't integral to the story. Like it wasn't furthering the story. Whereas with The Mandalorian, we're getting a lot of this stuff, but it's integral to the story. and it's a continuation of the legacy and the narrative and just the overall progression of this wonderful 40-year legend, or this 40-year journey that we've been on. You're kind of disappointed in the Dark Troopers. I think we're going to get a lot more Dark Troopers. I think the Dark Troopers were a tease. I still feel like those Dark Troopers are plated with Beskar. And now that we can probably get into that a little bit too now with the Dark Trooper thing. Like, I feel like we're going to get a part 1 and 2 finale like we did with season 1. Like, second to last episode was part 1 of the finale. Then, last episode was the finale. I think we're kind of getting set up for like more of an Empire Strikes Back ending, where I think the good guys are going to, the good guys are going to lose. And by lose, I mean, I don't think we're going to see Grogu and the Mandalorian reunited by the end of the season. Like, I think Moff Gideon will end this season with Grogu still in his possession, which will set up some interesting things for the following season. But I think it's a good way to keep the fans invested in this story, because we are very much attached and have come to love this relationship between Grogu and the Mandalorian Din Djarin. So I think that's what I'm personally prepared for. I have no inside information into this, no sources. This is just my speculation. Like, I feel like we're going to end with the bad guys winning, at least just temporarily for the season. And I think it should, like, the good guys won last season. I think we need to see the bad guys win, because if they don't, then, it's like, you don't want to devalue the good guys or the bad guys and the victories that the good guys will have. Like, it's important within a story for the heroes to take some losses, like, just in general, because it helps to build character. It helps ingratiate the fans to the characters. Like, we get invested more because we like comeback stories. We like the underdog. We like to see the hero get knocked down but get back up and somehow find a way to win. We love seeing that. And with the TV, we can do that in seasons, if you know what I mean. So yeah. I agree, not enough time to get him back, but definitely enough time to see more Jedi. Yes. Yeah. Interesting, because I'm going to definitely dive into that. I want to see Mando get beat up by the Dark Troopers. I think we're going to see Mando get beat up by the Dark Troopers. I said, I still do believe that the Troopers are plated with Beskar. It just makes sense. Like, it seems like Moff Gideon has quite the stock of Beskar. I think he was involved with the Purge. I think he still has some sort of hold over Mandalore. So I think we can expect to see that in these next 2 episodes, in these last 2. As far as the Jedi go, there have been quite a few debates as to who these Jedi could be in these last few episodes. The popular pick right now is definitely Luke Skywalker to make an appearance in next season. I think it's possible that they could tease him at the end of the season. I'm not sure though, because like, we've gotten like there's zero evidence pointing to Luke Skywalker appearing in this season. And if he does, it's probably one of the best kept secrets in Hollywood. Because that's incredible. Like, they've been really good at kind of sort of keeping the leaks in and not allowing things to spill over. But Luke Skywalker appearing is kind of a tough one. not saying it's impossible, but good gosh, that's quite a feat if they can keep that a secret. I mean, they couldn't even keep Ahsoka a secret. You know what I'm saying? Like, if Ahsoka leaked, I would imagine that Luke Skywalker would leak. Like, no one's going to keep that a secret on the set for forever. Coop Daddy Yoda, OG Coop, what's up, man? What's up? A lot of directions they could go. Absolutely, absolutely. That's why we love. Um, that's why we like TV and series. Like that's why we like that serial format because it offers so many opportunities going forward. Like there's so many directions that you could go. They've introduced a number of characters that are rumored to spin off into other series. So you know, like all that's cool. Like we've gotten invested in, you know, Bo-Katan because of this show. Ahsoka Tano has become now a household name. Cobb Vanth, which is a book character, like that had like an excerpt in a novel that hardly anyone read. You know, this Boba Fett returning, like all this stuff, like you know, even Fennec Shan and Cara Dune and you know all these characters, like we all have now become attached to them, and we want to see more of these characters, and we want to see, you know, what happens to them and what their fates are and what they'll go off to do and accomplish in between now and the Force Awakens, and maybe even after. Mace Windu could happen. I'm not gonna lie to you. Like I wouldn't be surprised. Like I've been pleasantly surprised by who and what they've brought into the universe. I will say a couple years ago during Star Wars Celebration, they brought the cast of the prequel films together, all like on stage. And I think at the time, Samuel L. Jackson he couldn't make it because he was away filming something either for, I think probably for the Avengers. He was doing stuff for Marvel. He was busy. But he had time to video call in during this the time that the cast was on stage, and he asked George, because George was present, he asked George, hey, you know, Jedi are known to fall from like great heights and survive, like, you know what I'm saying, like, you know, he got his arm cut off and he got electrocuted by the emperor, but that didn't necessarily mean he's dead. Like we don't see the body, like, you know, he isn't, it's never been confirmed whether or not he's dead or alive. And the crowd went crazy. And George kind of smiled and smirked. And when the audience died down a little bit, he said, you know, you have a point there. It's possible Mace Windu could be alive. It's like, yeah, he probably survived. And like, as far as I'm concerned, because George Lucas said that, Mace Windu is probably alive. And he could very much still be alive during this time period. Like he would be actually about Samuel L. Jackson's age. So I wouldn't be surprised if he showed up at some point. I wouldn't hate it. But I still feel like Luke Skywalker is probably the best option and the most logical option as far as, you know, just the fan base. We know that Luke during this time period is building the new Jedi Temple and trying to rebuild the Jedi Order. So he would be looking for Padawans. He would be looking for students. Another viable option is also Cal Kestis, who is from the Fallen Order video game, which has been a critical success. But that story is also canon, and we don't know the fate of Cal Kestis. It's kind of left on a cliffhanger. He does survive, as far as we know, the end of the game. The story is going to continue. They've already, you know, greenlit the franchise basically to produce sequels. We don't know how many sequels, but there will be a follow-up to the game coming out probably on definitely next-gen consoles. But Cal Kestis, why I say Cal Kestis is because he has this ability that's kind of unique to Jedi. That is, it's force psychometry. And what this allows him to do is he can, you know, touch an object and see its history through the Force. Like he'll be able to perceive it. Like he'll receive a vision of what has happened to this thing leading up to that moment that he touched it. So he could very much visit Tython and literally see what happened, like the entire battle, the fight between the Mandalorian and the Imperial Remnant, and he could see Baby Yoda being taken by the Dark Troopers. Even though he would have arrived after it happened, he could still see it through the Force. Like it's a really cool ability, which that's why I think it would make sense for Cal Kestis to show up. Not to say that he's probably the one who would show up, but at this point, I have no idea. Like, it could be. I wouldn't be opposed to it. I think it's a really cool ability too. And then he's also not like a legacy character, so they could kind of sort of do what they want with him. We don't really know his fate. Like, we kind of know what happens to Luke Skywalker. So you run the risk of I don't know, man. See, like the thing for me is like Luke, the way they messed up Luke for me in The Last Jedi. I'm not gonna lie to you. Like I was really disappointed with the portrayal of Luke in The Last Jedi. And so knowing that this is the outcome for the character, even seeing him during this time period when he's probably at his best, like knowing no matter what he does in this series, like I'm still going to be, it's probably going to drive, I don't know. I think it could still, it'll probably further my disappointment for his outcome in the Last Jedi and the way that all turned out. Like everybody's input, man. I love the input, man. This is why I like doing this live stream, because it's like you guys are in here in the chat commenting. I can read them, comment back. Even like if y'all, having conversations in the chat amongst each other, like all that stuff is great. Like, love seeing all that. I think it's going to end with Ezra showing up at Tython. I don't know about that. That's a great theory, but why I believe that could be different. Spoilers for if you haven't seen Star Wars Rebels yet, but there's an epilogue at the end of the final season of Rebels where Sabine and Ahsoka head off into the unknown regions, presumably to find Grand Admiral Thrawn and Ezra. And Dave Filoni said this week in an interview that it's possible that her episode takes place before the epilogue in Rebels. So if that's the case, then Ezra is still somewhere in the unknown regions with Thrawn. So the likelihood of him showing up, unless they do like some time jump between now and the season finale, I don't see Ezra. I think that kind of takes Ezra off the board for this season at least. Leia, maybe. Yeah. Also, once again, Sequel Trilogy kind of messed that up a little bit, because I would love to see that Leia appear, but in that Rise of Skywalker, when Leia is training with Luke, she has a vision that, of Ben turning to the dark side. And she stops training to become a Jedi. And like, I think she gets pregnant with Ben Skywalker, like on Endor. So her and Han go off to one of the Ewok huts and, celebrate. And then, Ben is conceived. And then sometime after that, while she's pregnant, she's training with Luke Skywalker. And that's when she stops for the training. So, Ben would be about, this is 9 years after the Battle of Yavin, so he would be like 3, right? Am I? Or 4? Maybe. Wait. Yeah, he'd be like 5 or 6 years old, I believe. So that kind of takes Leia off the board. But man, she would have been great, like, because in the EU, like she does become a Jedi, and like she's like a very powerful Jedi. uh did it have a caller ID? Yo, I have no idea. That is a great question. Like it was, I don't know, it's like a forced Skype call, maybe. That's how I think of it. I'm like, he probably, reached out to, I don't know if they can, if it's like a two-way type of thing where like he can see them and they can see him, or is he just broadcasting himself out, you know, to the galaxy, and like all the surviving Jedi are kind of like, oh, there's a thing happening on Tython. What is it? I don't know how that works. I kind of like the mystery of it too. Like I don't know if I really want to know the inner workings of how that works. Um I like the mystery of the Force in certain regards, and I think that would be one of those mysteries I would like to keep intact. Yeah, I listen. Celebration, man. Celebration. That's all I can say. That's all I'm saying about that. That's all I'm saying about. They took down two Death Stars, the Emperor, Vader. Like they had quite a night. Quite a night. Yeah, I mean, Ahsoka too still is an option as she's still an option. Like she could change her mind, but I don't know if she's going to change her mind too. I still don't think we're going to see her again in this season. Because I feel like what happened is that she found out from the magistrate where Grand Admiral Thrawn is, and she's on her way back to Lothal to pick up Sabine, and they're going to head off to the unknown regions. Um, yeah. See, I don't know. This is where they kind of put us in a little pickle with the sequel trilogy because um the only way that could work, because I agree with you, like I would definitely want to see as many Jedi as possible during this time period, because we do know that there are a number of survivors of Order 66 that are alive during this time period. So like for instance, uh there were 10,000 Jedi Knights alive prior to Order 66. Order 66 wiped out 99% of the order like on that day. The remaining 1,000 or so were hunted through the 19 years leading up to A New Hope by the Inquisitorium. We don't know. What we don't know is how many of that 1,000 were actually hunted down and killed. But what has been revealed is that prior to A New Hope, like I think a few months up to a year before A New Hope, the Empire disbanded the Inquisitorium because they felt that they had basically wiped out the majority of the order, and who all was still alive. They felt that the stormtroopers and Vader could handle by themselves. They didn't need the entire Inquisitorium behind them. So, I don't know. We don't know how many. Like we know Cal Kestis survived. Mace probably is still alive. Quinlan Voss, his fate is unknown. Obi-Wan, of course, Yoda, Kanan, Ezra, they're all, well, Ezra's not really, he's not an Order 66 survivor. He's trained afterwards. But yeah, we just don't know. We don't know how many survive, but we do know probably of that 99%, very few were, I mean, of that 1%, very few survived to A New Hope. I believe Yaddle was killed prior to the end of the Clone Wars. Let me double check. Let me go. Yes. Yeah, she died during the Clone Wars on a peacekeeping mission. She sacrificed herself to save Um, yeah, she was. So whoever she was protecting, she basically sacrificed her life to ensure their survival. So yeah, she was RIP prior to Order 66. This happens off camera. This doesn't happen during the Clone Wars. Like this is I think honestly, I think she died. I think she died after shortly after the Phantom Menace because she was sitting on the High Council when during that movie, but then after that we don't see her on the council. So I think she died sometime in that 10-year gap between Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones. Yeah, it would be cool to see Yaddle appear, but yeah, she didn't make it to Order 66. How are we on time? We got what, 9 minutes to the hour? Yeah. Okay. So I kind of got sidetracked on the episode though, man. It's been a great conversation. Um, where did we kind of leave off? Yeah. Yeah. All this being set before the Rebels epilogue is amazing. The idea that at least because then um we know of course that Ahsoka is going to survive at least this season. Um, it has been rumored that she is getting her own show or movies, but Rosario has signed a long-term contract with Lucasfilm to reprise her role as a character. As far as whether that's movies and shows on Disney Plus or both, still to be determined. There is an investor call on the 10th of December, which is was that next week, where we should learn a lot more about Disney's plans for Marvel and for Star Wars on that call and in the streaming platforms and everything that they've got planned um, for next year and the year after. So yeah, that's a definitely something to keep an eye out on next week. Um, that will be a great news week, honestly, especially if you're a fan of those properties. Uh, yeah. So yeah, the Dark Trooper thing is interesting. Oh well, we got to talk about that. The final scene too, with Moff Gideon capturing Baby Yoda and having him in that holding cell while they go off into hyperspace. That is a very interesting uh, scene. I'll say, like, I've also am very curious as to why he gets so tired when he uses the Force. Like he any prolonged period of him, using the Force, he seems to pass out and is very fatigued and exhausted, which is something that we've not really seen before, even with younglings. And I know he's a small dude, but even Moff Gideon makes a comment about it at the end there, which I think is interesting. I think there's something more to it that will be revealed um, probably in these next two episodes, hopefully. But I don't think it's. I think there's something more to it. I don't think it's has to do with his size or his stature. I think it's something else going on. We do know from last week's episode that he was a youngling in the temple. Um, he was around during Order 66. Someone hit him. We don't know who that someone was, but whoever it was, I'm assuming was another Jedi. Maybe seems to be the most probable answer. But I mean, it could be anybody. He was under armed guard when we see him in season one in that first episode. Someone was paying to keep him protected because those Nikto guards aren't just doing that for free or the kindness of their heart. Like I just Star Wars. Um, so yeah, we'll see. We'll see. What do y'all think about that? Like, yeah. Yeah, season one. So here's the thing, though, because even before then, because when was it episode two when the Mando has to fight the Mudhorn and Baby Yoda lifts him, like that was before Dr. Pershing did, took his blood. So I don't think it's necessarily tied to that either. Um, Otherwise, I think that that is a good theory, but like, because I thought that too for a minute, because I was like, yo, is it because they took his blood, like, and now he's weak and he can't, fully utilize his power, or um, is it something else? And then I realized that, oh yeah, before, even when he lifted the Mudhorn, he passed out in his little floating cradle. So I don't know. That was even before, that was before the experiments on Navarro. Yeah, and is it because he's been cut off? Like, maybe it's the fact that he's been cut off from the Force for so long. Like, you know, we don't know how, if he's ever been. Um, was he ever captured prior to? Like, did he escape the temple? Did he ever get captured by the Empire, and did he escape, or did someone help him escape from the Empire at some point? Like, he's got an entire backstory uh, that we really need to explore some more to get some more clarity on. But like, perhaps it's because he was cut off from the Force. Maybe he cut himself off from the Force, and it's maybe like a fatigue thing and a muscle memory thing. Like, he's not used this skill in so long. Like, he got tired. I mean, when Luke did the Force projection in the Last Jedi, like that ended up killing him, and he had been cut off from the Force for however many years he had cut himself off when he went into exile. I don't know. Maybe that's it. Maybe it could be that simple, or maybe there's something more. I don't know. I definitely want that. I don't want that to remain a mystery. Definitely want to know what's up with that. And the child, Baby Yoda, is a very interesting character. Given that his species can live for so long, like, this is a character that can carry a through line for the remainder of the saga, really. Like, Disney can do so much and Lucasfilm can do so much with this character and connect and continue this continuity through Baby Yoda through multiple stories. Like, you know, um, he's only 50 years old. Yoda lived to like 900 or close to 900 years. I think he was just shy of 900 years when he died in um, Return of the Jedi. So like, he's got a long life ahead of him. I can't imagine that they would kill him. That would be an interesting choice. I think that would be a mistake, not only from like a story standpoint, but just from like a franchise, like just from a business standpoint. It wouldn't be a good idea to kill him. He's not, and it's not just because he's a beloved character. That's a huge reason why you want to keep him alive. But like, for me, it's that the lifespan that he has. Like, he's your Chewbacca, he's your Yoda. Like, these characters that in these aliens that can live for these long periods of time, like, they can connect so many different characters and create this through line of continuity through however many stories you want to tell, because you can put them into different stories to keep everything kind of sort of tied together, even if it's loosely. Like, we don't see Baby Yoda in the sequel trilogy, but that does not necessarily mean that he's dead. It's a huge galaxy. Like, anything can happen between now and then. Like, we're talking about a 40-year gap. You know what I'm saying? So like, what, 30 years? Is it 30 years? Long time. I mean, there's so much that we can explore within this time period between season one and The Force Awakens. Like, so much. Like, we know that the First Order is out in the unknown regions. we know that there's a connection to Thrawn in some capacity. Because even if we want to talk about like, Thrawn from Legends and the Empire of the Hand and how he was like chosen by the Emperor to continue basically long after the Empire, like to continue the legacy of the Empire and to, galvanize the remaining Imperial remnant under his rule and under his command. And um, I wouldn't, that would be great to see that story unfold, to have an Empire of the Hand type of story for Thrawn in these upcoming series. If there's one thing we do know about how Thrawn operates, if Moff Gideon is reporting directly to Grand Admiral Thrawn, we got a lot more to explore, because Thrawn, he's the type of person and the type of commander that never shows the full might of his force until he absolutely has to. Like, he's only going to show what he deems is necessary to get the job done. So if he's got Moff Gideon under his command and he's going to give Moff Gideon just enough, like essentially what he needs in order to survive. If you read the Thrawn novels, whether it be his original trilogy from the 90s or the new one, his Imperial Star Destroyer, the Chimera, it's rare that he puts that into battle unless he absolutely deems it necessary to do so. Like, he's not like the other Moffs and the other Imperial officers that show up in full force. Like, they'll drop out of hyperspace with the full might of their fleet because they like to display their power. Like, he doesn't do that. Like, he very much likes to play chess. Like, he'll make a move and see how the enemy responds, and then he's going to respond accordingly. So he's probably got a reserve fleet out there, if that is how they're going to play this. Like, he's probably got a very significant fleet that might be able to challenge the New Republic. Don't know. It's a possibility. It would be very interesting to see that. We also know that Grand Admiral Thrawn is, in canon, very much attached, and his loyalty lies with his people, the Chiss, who are also in the unknown regions. The whole purpose for him entering the known galaxy was to forge an alliance with a strong enemy or not a strong enemy, but a strong government that would be able to be a strong ally for the Chiss ascendancy, because they are facing a number of threats out in the unknown regions that the military and Thrawn feel they are not prepared for, and that they're going to need help from somewhere else in the galaxy in order to effectively combat this. So if that's also tying into this story, like, man, we got a lot to look forward to as far as like the Disney Plus and Star Wars. Like I said in a previous stream, like Disney Plus could very well be the home of Star Wars for the next 5 years, and I would be absolutely okay with that. Like, I'd be 100% okay with not going to the theaters, even disregarding COVID. Like, had COVID not happened, I'd still be okay with not seeing a movie in theaters if we continued down this route of, these stories on Disney Plus that, create this continuity between characters and kind of just flesh out this huge galaxy. It's just something I definitely want to see. Definitely want to see more of. How many in the chat are familiar with Grand Admiral Thrawn and the character? Mithrani Rodo is his full name. Let me know in the chat. Ezra Bridger too. That's a very probable person to appear in this Disney Plus universe, or in this Filoniverse as it's become known as now. I did see a rumor that Mace Windu is supposed to get. I don't know if that hasn't been officially confirmed by Disney, but apparently there was a contract signed with Mace Windu, not Mace Windu, but Samuel L. Jackson to reprise his role as Mace Windu in an upcoming Disney Plus mini series that the rumor, I believe, said, explores his past, prior to the prequels. Like, and it was kind of like telling a story with the older Mace reflecting on his past journeys, as a knight and as a Padawan. So that would be that would be something that would be on Disney Plus. You've got there's a number of rumored spinoffs from the Mandalorian TV show. Cara Dune is supposed to get her own TV show. Bo-Katan is supposed to be getting her own TV show. Boba Fett is getting his own TV show. That's actually started. I want to say it's either started or it's getting ready to start production within the next few weeks. That would actually, they're going to start filming that prior to season 3 of The Mandalorian. So I'm assuming that means that the Boba Fett show, whatever happens in that show, is takes place in between this season 2 and season 3, possibly, maybe. See, from Legends and Rebels. Yeah, no, that's a great trilogy. So like the new Thrawn trilogy, I would say the biggest differences between the new canon version of Thrawn and the Thrawn from Legends is that his loyalty is completely to the Chiss Empire, whereas in the Legends version from the stories in the 90s, he was an alien in a xenophobic empire that gained favor with the emperor and worked his way up through the ranks, despite the racism towards his species that he encountered as he rose the ranks to eventually get to the rank of Grand Moff. So that's kind of sort of how his character it differs from Legends to canon that's basically the brief synopsis without getting into spoilers. He basically felt, he had earned his right to be where he was. Like, he went through the gauntlet to become Grand Moff because he was the only alien officer in the Imperial ranks, which said a lot because they're, like I said, they're xenophobic, they're alien, they're racist towards aliens. So for him to rise to the ranks and like to pass that gauntlet meant that he was that dude. And he still is very much that dude. Like he is the greatest tactical mind and military mind in the Star Wars universe. Like, hands down, there's no one who comes close to him. Not in the theater of war, not at all. Like, his weakness is politics. That's a through line. Like, politically, he doesn't understand politics and how that works. But if you put him up against an opponent, he's going to win. Like, just no way around it. Thrawn is that dude. Kalisto, what's up? Good to see you. Another cool through line is his analytical ability. He's very much like, he is the Sun Tzu of Star Wars, and he is also a Sherlock Holmes and Spock, like, melded together with the Sun Tzu philosophy about war and the art of war, and like that's why he's such a fierce adversary. He's different from the other Imperial officers and the Moffs. He's not brutal. He is he likes people who, he rewards those who, excel at their job, and he's done he inspires his troops, and like they follow him because they want to, because they respect him, and like that's what he's different from Vader. Like they don't fear him, they respect him, like because of his tactical ability, his prowess, and his just his intellect. He is definitely ruthless, but he is not like he's not gonna kill someone because they jump too close to the system out of hyperspace. Like they like you make a mistake, um he sees that as a uh, almost like a learning opportunity. Like he doesn't get offended, if to kind of put it lightly. He doesn't um he's not a brutal villain, which makes him interesting person within the Empire. But within canon, like he has shown that with the Chiss, like a lot of he is more of a hero than he is a villain. He's definitely a hero in the Chiss ascendancy. Like the Chiss ascendancy is a authoritarian government, but they aren't a brutal force like the Empire. Like they don't rule by brutality. Like it's authoritative, but they are effective at what they do. They're really good at um so yeah, it'll be interesting. I'm very much looking forward to seeing Thrawn in live action. Like I said, he's not a villain that we've seen in Star Wars. Like that dude is whoever his adversary is, they're going to have major problems. I don't think he's going to show up in this season. I just can't. I think he will be teased. Like, here's what I predict in these next 2 episodes. By the end of the season, I think we will have we might get like the back of Thrawn's head. Like we might see that infamous, white tunic and the silhouette of Thrawn on the bridge of an Imperial Star Destroyer. Like we might tease that at the end of the season, but I don't think we'll get a full frontal reveal. And I think we'll also get a tease for who or what Jedi respond or heard Baby Yoda's call at the end of the season. I think that will be the win for the heroes of the story. Like I think that we'll see who it is that's going to respond to Baby Yoda's call. And I think we'll also get the reveal of Grand Admiral Thrawn, possibly teased. No, so he's not being cast, and not as far as we know. However, the voice actor in Rebels is Lars Mikkelsen, who is Mads Mikkelsen's brother, and he's actually he's a stage actor. Like he's not just a voice actor, he can act in real life. And I believe he's like 6'3", 6'4". He's pretty tall, and Thrawn is a tall too. So for me, ideally, casting Lars Mikkelsen as Thrawn is that's my fan cast. Like, why recast the character when you got a phenomenal voice actor who is also capable of acting on stage? Yeah, I wouldn't recast him unless you just couldn't work it out schedule wise with Lars, that he couldn't appear on screen, or he's not willing to sign some long-term contract with them to reprise the role. I don't see why you wouldn't. I mean, that's the only reason why I wouldn't. Baby Yoda managed to finish his connection thing without being interrupted. The only problem is not if a Jedi goes there. No one would be. Yeah. That would be an issue. Like, so yeah, because they're going. They would have been long gone by the time any Jedi showed up to respond, which I touched on earlier in the episode. I think that's why Cal Kestis would be kind of sort of an ideal person to show up, only because he has that psychometry ability, which is that's a super rare ability. Quinlan Voss is one of the other one of the few Jedi that also have that ability that we see in the Clone Wars, who's also rumored to have survived Order 66. So yeah, that would be my pick to show up, Cal Kestis. But I think Luke is going to be probably the one that they have show up because it's Luke Skywalker. Like Luke literally makes the most sense to show up. Yeah, they have that edge, and they have like that. They got that classic villain look about them. So I think he voices the character so well. Like I've already got like his voice is imprinted in my brain as far as Thrawn is concerned. So and not to say I couldn't get used to another voice, but he's imprinted his voice onto the character for me. Did anyone? Yes. Did anyone else get strong Iron Man vibes? I absolutely did. Like there was no that wasn't a coincidence. Like that was definitely Iron Man 1, Jon Favreau putting his input into those Dark Troopers as far as like, you know, how they fly and land, like literally exactly mimicking the Iron Man. Also, I hope that's not the end for the Dark Troopers, considering that they really didn't do. Oh no, absolutely not. They are absolutely going to show up in these next two episodes. I promise you that they're going to be very prominent in these next two episodes. Like, don't. There is no need to be concerned about whether or not you're going to see those Dark Troopers again. We also see that Pedro Pascal, Din Djarin, the Mandalorian, gets that Beskar spear back from the wreckage of the. Is that even wreckage of the Razor Crest? It's not even wreckage, man. That was like that ship got completely obliterated. It was just the ashes of the ship. It wasn't. There's nothing left in there. He got the knob, Grogu's knob, and the Beskar were like the only things to survive. So that was interesting. I think Pedro. I wonder if Pedro made that request because you know Pedro Pascal was also in Game of Thrones, and he lost to the Mountain. He was like he had that spear. I forgot what his character. He was the Viper, wasn't he? The Viper in Game of Thrones. And I wonder if he's the one that negotiated to have the spear for the character Din Djarin, so he can get his face back. Because I think the way he lost in Game of Thrones was trash. I'm not gonna lie to you. I totally understand him losing to the Mountain, but the way he lost to the Mountain was trash. He needs his face back. Oh yeah. No, Boba wasn't playing about that armor. Like Boba, that's what I appreciate about Boba. He was there for a reason. Like that man had a single focus. Like I'm going to get my armor. Here's how we're going to go about this. Either you give me the armor, or I'm going to kill your friend, and then I'll take you next. Or we can do this the easy way. You just give me the armor, and I'm gonna go about my way. Speaking of, let's get back to these comments real quick. It did. Iron Man. Yeah. Was it Iron Man 2 or 3? Wasn't it 3? What was the one with the Mandarin? Wasn't it 3 when he had like all of the robots? Or no, I think they did show up in 2. You're right. Yeah, he was hurt. Yeah, I mean, so the Baby Yoda being taken, I felt as soon as we landed on the planet, I knew that the Empire was going to show up, and they were probably going to end up taking Baby Yoda in some way. Either the Dark Troopers were just going to beat Mando down and take Grogu, or what have you. But like he was not leaving the planet with Grogu. Basically, I kind of saw that coming. What I did not see was them destroying the Razor Crest. Like Didn't see that coming at all. I hope Din calls Ahsoka to help because if she's told Baby Yoda's captured, she would no doubt. I think at this point in time, I think Ahsoka is going to be out of the picture as far as she won't be available. I think she'll be out in the unknown regions. Because Dave Filoni, in an interview with Vanity Fair magazine, I believe it was, said that it's possible that Ahsoka's episode takes place before the Rebels epilogue in season 4, where we see Ahsoka and Sabine go off to look for Ezra and Thrawn. So now we know that she knows. It's hinted at that she knows where Thrawn is because she was confronting the magistrate about his location. So I think it's implied there that she got the information that she needed. She kind of knows where he is. And I imagine that after she tells, Din to go to Tython, I'm pretty sure she departs for Lothal to get Sabine, and then they head off together to find Ezra and Thrawn. And that is also a rumored series that is coming out as well. Which I'm thinking is all the same thing. I think the Rebel sequel and the Ahsoka show, all of that's probably the same thing. I think it's just all the same show. It just makes sense to do that. There's no point in breaking that show up into multiple parts. Where are we at on time? Couple more minutes here. Do an hour and a half. 8 more minutes. Appreciate everybody for joining me tonight, man. It's been great. Wonderful conversation as always. And if you're watching and you aren't subscribed, man, like, come on, hit that subscribe button. Make sure you hit the like button as well if you haven't already. We also, we'll be live tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the Cookout. We're going to be talking about a bunch of nerdy stuff. So, if you aren't doing anything at 8 p.m. tomorrow night, come back to this YouTube channel. Watch us. Check us out. Have a conversation. We'd love to have you for sure. Always love seeing people. We always love talking with the chat and talking everything. So, yeah. Come back tomorrow. And we do this, we do the Cookout every Saturday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, just like this show. The Mandalorian recap comes on every Friday, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So make sure you subscribe and hit that bell icon to get a notification anytime we go live. And I'm also doing Star Wars Sunday, probably again at 7 p.m. Eastern this Sunday. And I think that will be a weekly show going forward. So yeah, that's where we at. Anything else? Oh yeah. We definitely got to talk about the Stormtrooper scene with Baby Yoda. I'm pretty sure that he killed those storm. I don't think they survived that. To be completely honest, he totally was toying with them like rag dolls. They hit the wall pretty hard. I think that was a terminal. I think they were at terminal velocity when they hit the walls. Or maybe they were moving. I don't know. I didn't pay that much attention to them after they were collided with the wall. He does seem to be in like a weakened state. I thought it was strange that they put those restraints on him. I'm not gonna lie to you. That those little handcuffs that they put on them, I'm like, those don't look effective at all. Like, that just seemed like a waste of time. Complete waste of time. Maybe they did get up and walk away. I really wasn't paying much attention to them. For me, when they hit the wall, I was like, all right, they're dead. So I didn't even pay attention one way or the other. If they got back up, you could be completely right. I wouldn't. I don't know. I didn't pay that much attention to the stormtroopers after that. Yeah, this man. Where we at time wise? Yeah, got a couple more minutes here. Couple more minutes. So I guess we can talk. Let's speculate a little bit in these last 5 minutes on what will happen in the next episode. I know we go back to Navarro at the end of the show. Mando talks to Kara about, you know, breaking Mayfield out of the rebel prison, and she's like, "Yo, you know what? I'm a marshal now. We got rules. I can't just go around just doing anything." And he's like, "They got the child." Her whole tone changed, and then we cut. But so clearly that's going to be the mission next episode. I think that we're going to be assembling the team next episode. I think Mando, Kara, Spring, Mayfield. I don't know if that's going to be the entire episode, but I'd imagine that we'll. I don't know how long. I mean, I think that next week's episode is going to be about him assembling the team to go up against the Imperials and the Dark Troopers and Moff Gideon. Yeah, you know what? That's a good point. I think he did let them. They're stormtroopers. These Imperials don't care about these stormtroopers. He's like, yeah, they're useless. They're such cannon fodder. It's a shame. Like they don't care anything about their about those stormtroopers, man. They just send them out to die. Yep, Bill Burr. Bill Burr is back. I don't even remember. I don't know if I even saw that in a rumor that he was going to be in this season again. Cool though. I like that character. Definitely looking forward to his return. Yeah, I think we'll see Mayfield. I think Cobb is definitely coming back. That was hinted at in the first episode. Like he kind of sort of left it out there for Mando. It's like, hey man, maybe we can link up again in the future. Mando, he holds on to those things. When you make a promise like that, like he is going to definitely take you up on that offer. What else happened? Who else? Bo-Katan definitely is going to make an appearance. I believe she will be back to take on Mando, and I think we'll learn that Ahsoka is possibly off to find Ezra. Hey, you know what? We could get a name drop for Ezra and Sabine, possibly too, before the season is over. Oh yeah. Bring in the team of misfits. Bring the Bad Batch, man. I have I'm really not at all interested in that animated show. Like, not, I mean, I'll watch it, but like, I don't really care about that show. That weird looking short alien was a snitch. You talking about the blue dude? Which one are you? Which one? You said weird alien, and I'm like, bro, this is Star Wars. Like, we got plenty of those. Like, which one are you talking about? Oh man, that Indiana Jones boulder. Yeah, I peeped that too. That was definitely Indiana Jones reference when Fennec Shand kicked the boulder down the off the side of the hill. And that stormtrooper that was trying to shoot the boulder, like he's an idiot. He deserves to die. This man was literally trying to shoot the rock to pieces. Like, come on, bro. Like, there's gonna be an Avengers Endgame type of battle with everyone. Yeah. I believe so. I could be completely wrong too. Like, I mean, Ahsoka could show up, Luke could show up. I mean, goodness gracious, like the fledgling Jedi Order could show up, as far as I know. Like, Luke. Now, here's an interesting thing. Luke would definitely be training Ben Solo. Yeah, Ben Solo. I almost called him Ben Skywalker. They would definitely. He has been with him at this point in time. Like he's a young Padawan, young Jedi, in training during this time period, I think. But he'd be so young. I don't know. But Luke is definitely active. We know that uh, from the George Lucas leaks, he had plans for Luke Skywalker to have a young, fledgling Jedi Order comprised of some survivors of Order 66, as well as like, new young Padawans. So that's also, that's also on the table, depending on if they want to go that route. They could totally do that. At this point, man, like I've said, like they have surprised me with a lot of things in this show, which has been beautiful because there were some things that I was anticipating in the sequel trilogy to happen that never did. And so I kind of got into this place where I was like, I'm not even speculating anymore as to what happens because like they keep going in weird directions that don't make any sense. But now this is like everything's, things that happened in the past are starting to tie in and, are relevant and are playing into the story. So yeah, anything could happen, dude. Anything. Yeah. So, the Mithril, I think that's what he's called. He's the contact that told. No. That's the that was another alien that was it looked like it had like black eyes, but it I forgot if you go back and watch that episode, there's an alien that's working on the ship that looks over at the Mando, and then they also report to the Empire and to Moff Gideon that they installed the tracking device on the ship and what have you. So it wasn't the blue guy. Not to defend him because I'm not really a fan of that character, but yeah, I'll defend him on that one. As long as the next episodes are 50 plus minutes, I'm good. Yeah, as long as the pacing is right, I'll say. Like I definitely want more than 30 minutes. I think as far as they can stay in that 40-minute plus range, I'm good. I won't complain. That's the Mimbin. All right. Well, that's going to do it for this episode, guys. Appreciate you all for joining me tonight. It's been fun. Love talking this Star Wars. You know me, Lord God here. Yeah, if you want to enjoy the Star Wars stuff, definitely come back Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern. No, 7 p.m. Excuse me, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and subscribe to the channel so that you get a notification when I do go live for that. But it'll be a general conversation about Star Wars. I haven't picked a topic yet. I'll figure that out between now and and Sunday. Man, I really wasn't expecting this episode. I'm gonna be honest with you. So I could continue the conversation with this episode. But hey, I don't know. But love to see you on Sunday, and make sure you come back tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for the cookout, man. I think we got some. What are we talking about? Let's go with the show notes real quick. Let me hit these show notes real quick, man. See Imani put those in the chat. Yeah, we talk. Oh, yeah. So that Disney Plus Hulu news. We got the Warner Brothers HBO Max news. We got Assassins. Wait, what? Anyway, wonderful stuff. Entertainment news. It's going to be wonderful. See you tomorrow, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and Sunday at 7 p.m. Eastern. Like I always say, peace, love, blessings, and may the force be with you always.